Creating a portfolio is an incredible way to stand out in today's very, very crowded job marketplace. But it doesn't have to be incredibly stressful. And in this video, we're going to look at some tools you can use today to make a portfolio of all your achievements and things you've done really, really simply and very quickly. Now, if you're here, you may have been asked by an employer or by a program of study you're applying to make a portfolio. But remember, once you have this incredible asset in your application set up, you can use it whenever you apply to a job. Just have it within your resume or make sure to drop it as a note. Once it's done, it actually keeps adding value with every application you do. Now, I'm David from Vuma. We help people prepare for interviews, one-way video interviews online. You can check out our app below. But I want to get straight into understanding these new tools you can use, one called V0 by Vercel, to really accelerate how you create your portfolio page and get it launched potentially within a couple of hours, if not 30 minutes if you're really on fire. All right, let's head over to the app. So this tool is called V0. Now, for very complex things, I think it falls pretty far short. But for something like a portfolio, which is a very simple website, it is exceptional, without a doubt. Now, when I was applying to the MIT Media Lab, I actually had to create a portfolio. I had to learn this programming language called Jekyll that's like for making blogs, and just make this list of different entries to submit alongside. I was quite happy with how it turned out, but it took a huge amount of time compared to the end result. And I think this is one of the problems with all these additional questions and asks of employers now is it feels like we don't get much in return for the time we invest. But trust me, V0 may very well just change this for you. I've just typed in, I want to create a portfolio website for myself where I can list the achievements, activities, and hobbies I've been involved in, because really this is the purpose of a portfolio, right? It's to go beyond LinkedIn, beyond your resume. These are the things that maybe you don't think are vital enough to put into your resume, but if someone has an interest in you and they browse past, they say, oh, this person helped run this hobby club, like maybe a Warhammer club, and they're also interested in it, they can dive in and see how you execute based on your personal life and the things you're interested in rather than just what's on your resume. Here we go. It's kind of summarizing what I'm trying to do, a professional portfolio website to showcase achievements, activities, etc., etc. And one of the things I think is interesting about this, right, is we've got to remember with a portfolio, what are the type of content we're going to be putting on there? Is this going to be very visual? Are we going to have lots of photos? Or is this going to be more text, blog-based? We're going to have some more placeholders. Let's just go to check out the old way you used to make portfolio websites, which was templates, right? So imagine you're a web developer, you want to make a website for a restaurant. They'll pick out this theme and they'll go, wow, I really love this theme. Like, it'll really make my restaurant pop. And they offer you some money to make it. Well, the problem is that most restaurants don't have photos like this, right? They don't have these really nicely shot photos. So you can do the kind of template, but really what this theme, what this website needs is great photography. That's what's really going to make it shine. And so with your portfolio as well, you have to think, is this going to be mostly text-based, something a bit more like Lee Robinson's portfolio here, where they talk about themes, ideas, it's not visual at all? Or is it going to be something where, you're a great photographer, right? So one of the things restaurants underestimate is you probably need like a camera, like a A6500, and then also some kind of lens, maybe like this Sigma, I think it's 16mm 1.4, right? So you get very blurry, nice bokeh shots, right? There's a lot of investment that goes into making, for instance, a restaurant website. And you got to think like, okay, do I have assets like that? Am I willing to actually go take photos of the things I've done? And that's why taking stuff like screenshots or screen recordings of what you do, videos, getting your friends to photo you is super useful when you come to making your portfolio website. With that said, let's see how far we've got. Okay, so right, we've got this first version of the website. We've got dark navy theme. okay, it's already looking pretty tidy. I can see you got this experience, which kind of mirrors the resume. I kind of want it to be more project based. We've got some images we'll need to fill in here. So what I'm going to do, I'm going to actually try copying and pasting all of this across. Now, for you, if you don't really have a portfolio yet or a list of things you've done, try to make a text file with what you've done, the date you did it, and then that can transfer across too. So we'll just paste that in, come across as pasted text. Other thoughts I have as well, I just want to have GitHub and LinkedIn. So the way V0 works is it ends up with a list of tasks that it adds to a to-do list. So what I'm going to do is, knowing that, I'm going to prompt it in a certain way. So I'm going to say, add these to-dos to your task list. I just want to show GitHub and LinkedIn. What else do I like? I don't really like this at the end. Do I get in touch, download resume? Okay, I can work with that. Let's see. I think with this portfolio, kind of similar to the one that I created for the application to the Media Lab, I know that when I applied at MIT, they wanted to see projects that I've been working on, rather than necessarily like just a biography or description of who I am. It was more project based. What have you executed on? What have you delivered on? What were the results? So make the portfolio. And this is going to vary for you, right? Depending on where you're applying to, what's prompted you to build this portfolio in the first place, shape it towards that. You can always adjust it as time goes on in the future. Other things, I think it's a little dark. So I do like the way this is a kind of scroll, right? So it's basically a single page website. It doesn't have too much going on. Of course, I want to update the site based on the pasted text. Add a light and dark mode. So currently this is like a dark mode, right? Not everyone appreciates that. Depends on the professional setting too. Dark mode definitely gives a particular, more coding, gamer angle to a portfolio. Not that there's anything wrong with that, but depending on your profession, your expertise, you might want a light mode. So I'm going to add a light and dark mode that automatically sets to the user's current preference. We can see that V0 has translated that chat into a list of to-dos. And one thing I would suggest when you're prompting a tool like V0 is to stack as many changes as possible into one prompt. For example, with V0, I think in the free version, you get 10 chats per day, right? 10 messages per day. And there's seemingly no real length limit on those chats. So really, as you're making amendments, keep a tally of what you want to change and then submit it as one block rather than piecemeal, and you'll end up not getting as far as you could have done had you separated it out. Okay, so now we're on to version 2 of the site. So imagine we got these 10 messages. We have 2 down, 8 to go. So let's figure out what seems to work and what doesn't. Apparently we've got this light mode, dark mode switch here, which doesn't work. Let's go down the page a bit more. Okay, so clearly here it wants me to have some kind of big portfolio profile photo. If I'm not into that, we can actually switch over to code as well and find the, I think it's the page. So we can see here we've got header, hero, about, projects, achievement, ventures, contact. Okay, professional headshot.png. Maybe we don't have a professional headshot. Very expensive to get unless you have a great friend who's like really, really fantastic at photography. We might not have that photo that we're super proud of that represents us professionally. So we can just go in here. These pairs usually match. And so we can kind of just get rid of that, save it, go back to the code. Okay, so we have this, then we go straight into the about me. We've lost the photo for now. Of course, we can always ask to add it back in. So now we have this like ventures and initiatives, okay, with these kind of big photos on them. So actually what I really like here is to have, similar to the way we had it before in my previous portfolio website, I'd love to have these as kind of all images, right? So even in these other areas, right, whether it's these little apps or experiments or positions I held, I would like to have these header images. I don't particularly like this current interest. I think it's too definitive. I want to leave my portfolio a bit more open. People can into it what I'm interested in, what I'm not. So I'm going to say remove current interests section, see anything else here that we like or don't like. I could probably give my GitHub and LinkedIn so that this is more or less ready to go. And then of course I'm going to have to update the things I've been involved in, but we'll get to that once we have the template in place. All right, so I've submitted these 3 to-dos. Let's see if they'll get added as tasks. Not going to get added as to-do tasks this time, but it's going to work on the theme toggle, then on changing the way the sections appear, and finally on removing that section that we don't want anymore. And after that, we'll get to figuring out how to publish this page. Now we're on to version 3. Let's see how we're doing. Got the About Me section, the technologies, and then we're on to these featured projects, and we can see, okay, the images are broken, but everything is kind of sitting in these similar, I guess we would call them cards, right, that we had in Ventures and Initiatives. There's just currently no images, so I'll probably ask for placeholders to be generated, but I like this layout. It's going to be much more visual. So let's just check these links are working. They're kind of taking us to the right sections, right? Ventures, Initiatives, Contact, takes us down here. I like that. The light and dark mode button is still not working, so this is something we'll need to work on. I just noticed that the year to 2025, but as we start to ask more, we kind of fall short. And especially if we don't have like technical background, we can get ourselves into situations where apps we make using AI perform in an unexpected way. We're well on our way to having a portfolio I think we can be pretty proud of and happy with. So this is an incredible thing that's happened over the past 6 months to a year, that we can create sites like this on the fly in literally minutes. So it's very cool. So version 4 has just been completed. Let's have a look and see if the changes we asked for have been made. Apparently all the changes, the problems we have been fixed. Let's check out the light dark mode. It's not fixed. So I think the first thing I'm going to do is just say, let's remove it. Let's not waste any more time. This is one of the things, right? We're getting the AI telling us that this has been fixed, but there's no verification it's been fixed. Clearly it's not fixed. Let's just move on. We know the limitations of the tool we're using. We've added descriptive placeholder images for all project and achievement cards that match the content. Okay, we've got the cards here. We can see the images, all broken images. Let's see. Nothing seems to happen when we click on these achievements either, these cards. What I have on the previous site is if you click on one of these cards, you get more details about what's happening. So if someone who's interested in a particular part of my portfolio can dive in that bit deeper in a way that you can't do with a resume. That's the great thing about a portfolio website. One thing I do like is these tags here, right? These tags are kind of keywords. Someone might be searching for a particular skill and they're going to come across these keywords. It has +1 more. I'm not sure why it has +1 more. It could actually just fill in the keyword there. But the most important thing now is these broken images. That's probably a missing piece before I'd be comfortable with like launching this as a replacement and working on it as we go. So let's go back to preview so we can see the structure of the site. So we actually have these images that have been created. It seems to be placeholders. Let's go for this color generator. Okay. Let's get the name of this file. I'm just going to copy the name of that file there and go find the code. It seems like the name of the image is there, but for some reason it's failing. So let me just undo that change. So there's actually a difference between the name used within the projects and the actual generated image. So if I save that change now, we go back to the code, we see the image is correct, right? I'm gonna replace this image. It's not a great screenshot. It's completely fabricated by AI. It's a nice placeholder instead of broken links. So I'm gonna say, double check the file names in the, if the image is in the public folder that we've generated. And ensure they match. And kind of knowing how this tool has some weaknesses around renaming files, I'm going to ask it to generate the file names of images, double check the file names of images in the public folder that we generated, and ensure the project, is it .tsx file, has the correct names, file names. That way I'm trying to put the emphasis on changing the code file rather than renaming files. It's a little bit of a nuance, but as you play with these tools, you'll notice what they do badly, what they do well. So it's going to be thinking about that. Any other changes? I think overall this is good. We also need to get these social media links working, the GitHub and the LinkedIn that I'm going to put. These seem to not be opening anything. So I will put in the chat just the true links I want those social media icons to go to. One of the great things about this tool as well is you can queue prompts. So for example, the tool might only work for about 5 minutes by itself, unattended. So I can queue a prompt so when it finishes doing what it's working on or it pauses, I can say, oh, continue what you're doing until you complete it, and then add in this additional information as well. We've made it to version 6, and I think we're almost ready to go. We've lost the light dark mode that the AI struggled to make effective, so we just ditched it. And now we have these images in place as placeholders across the entire set of projects. So that's fantastic as a placeholder. I think I'm happy to upload this as it is. I wanted to see is if we click on these cards, do we get to a template for what the in-depth description will be, where we can highlight either skills, technologies, outcomes, and impact. So this is something that I can review separately as well, but at least the template is good to go. And I can bring across those additional details and information from the previous portfolio site. If you have that list of projects you've worked on and things you did, you can kind of copy paste that in as well. Our goal here was to have a framework, a template that we could fill in with information about our projects. And I feel like we've achieved that really well. This is something that, I know the first time probably took maybe 5 hours to get everything all together, get a template I felt happy with. It wasn't excellent, but here we've done that in a much shorter period of time. We have a layout. We can, of course, go find a different color scheme and suggest it to the AI and amend it. But overall, I feel pretty comfortable using this as a showcase for the things I've worked on, the things I've done, and a way in which other people can kind of dive deeper into my background, the things I'm interested in, and the achievements that I've accomplished. And similar for you, this, I think most people would be incredibly happy to be able to produce a site like this in very little time. Well, the next step here for me is to hit publish, put this out into the real world, and then to continually be reviewing, modifying it. I've got to add some more recent projects to my portfolio. I have not updated it in quite a while, but you'll be able to update this and have it almost as a living testament to the things that you're working on each time. So whenever you do something new, maybe you go to a hackathon, maybe you help out at a particular festival or event that you're proud of, maybe a community effort, you can just edit it and add it. Now, when your resume and your portfolio finally capture the attention of a company, an organization, someone in HR who just wants to learn a bit more about you, talk to you in person, have an interview with you, don't forget to check out our product, Vuma, at www.tryvuma.com, which can help you to prepare for your video interviews, especially the ones over Zoom or one-way video interviews with AI where you're not sure exactly how to get feedback on your performance. Vuma will give you that feedback to guide you in the right direction to interview success. We're going to hit the publish button up here in the top right. And first off, when we publish it for the first time on V0 or Vercel, we can't link it to a custom domain. I think we actually have to publish the first version of it to a temporary site where we can test it out, open it on our phone, send it to friends and family, see what they think, and then finally link it to our personal custom domain. If you have one, I suggest it's pretty useful to have one under your own name. For example, I do, but it just makes it like a recognizable space for you to own on the internet. So we're going to publish to production. All right, and the app is going to start building itself. Okay, fantastic. The site's now ready live on the internet. We can see that here. There was no issues with building the website. You can add the custom domain here. Once you're happy with what you've created, why not share it publicly with the community as well and inspire other people who are thinking about renewing their portfolio, trying to put their best foot forward as they apply for jobs. In the same way that I'm making this video to encourage and inspire you that this isn't as difficult as it seems. But I'll leave that to you. Let's visit the site. Okay, we can see here we got the site live. I almost would love to have a picture here, but again, like you say, if we don't have the pictures to work with, maybe we'll just leave it as text. I can keep republishing to the live site, so it will update automatically. So we can keep everything in here. We don't have to download any files. We can keep it all within this ecosystem. Again, not sponsored, but I just think it's a really cool tool to be using. And yep, we've got the About Me. The images are still working. So I'm pretty happy. I would probably, before I link it to my personal domain, dwanderton.com, I'm going to just go through it with a bit more of a fine-tooth comb, make sure some of the AI text generation is still in line with what I actually did, add in any additional details, make sure the structure of this page, I kind of want to work on this a little bit more so these subheadings pop. At the moment they just blend into the normal text, but I feel we're like 80 to 90% there. We've got a lot of the heavy lifting done. Of course, that last 20% is guaranteed to take us a bit longer than these first few steps, but I really think that this tool is a fantastic way that you can get something like your portfolio just out there as soon as possible. It's another one of these things we often have to do as we put out job application. But I wanted to get this out as quickly as possible to show you that maybe it's not as hard as you think to do these additional steps. We can tick boxes off using these incredible AI tools that are out there. They're not perfect, but we can work around that and make something that is going to deliver. So if you enjoyed the video, don't forget to like, comment, maybe share your URL with your portfolio that you've made in the comments, and subscribe if this was useful to you. And if you have an upcoming interview, like I said before, check out tryvuma.com where you can practice for your one-way video interviews. Yeah, for now, that's it, and I'll catch you in the next one. See ya.